Warning: this video will contain spoilers for Spider-Man Far From Home, so if you have not yet seen the movie, you have been warned that there are gonna be spoilers in this review. Now let's get on with it. Hi guys, Arcus here again on What Have I Been Watching, and today I'm reviewing Spider-Man Far From Home. So I just got back from the theater, and I'm just gonna go straight out and say it, this was one of the most funniest Marvel movies I've witnessed in between every movie. It's right up there with Thor Ragnarok and Guardians of the Galaxy. There is so much humor in this movie, which made it a really fresh look, and I made it really happy to watch it after watching Endgame a couple of months ago. You know, you were a bit sad and the movie was sort of towards the most sadder concept, which, you know, is considered, despite what happened in, Infinity War. But so it was nice that this movie was a bit lighter. There was a lot of great comedy moments, and it was just overall a really enjoyable movie to watch. So start off the movie. The kids, they're taking a science class trip throughout Europe, and it's just a really great concept, and it's really different from the Spider-Man Homecoming, which I really appreciated. They kept a lot of the great characters that were in the first one. Ned returns. We also have Zendaya return as let's see, I blanked out on her character's name, MJ. Sorry. So she plays MJ, and Ned's back as well. Tom Holland's good friend, Peter's good friend, and this character in this movie, he was so funny, and his entire relationship. There's a new character, or I don't know if she's new, but I don't remember if she was in the first one. It was a while ago since I watched it, but her character name is Betty, and so Ned and Betty, they get together and they become a romantic couple during the entire trip, which just was such a funny comedic moment to add to the script, and it really elevated just the entire movie to a whole new level, because every time you saw them on screen you almost laughed, and there were so many great jokes that they told. So kudos to the writers and also to the actors, Jacob Batalon, who plays Ned, and also to Angourie Rice, who plays Betty. And I mean, Zendaya had a lot of great jokes as well, and even Tom Holland had great moments, and just everyone throughout the movie. So that's that. And the entire plot, it felt nice. It wasn't like hugely story driven. It was more of a friendly movie. It was about friendships, and it was a little bit cliche because Peter was going after MJ, since the first movie he really likes her, and so his goal for this movie is, to try to become together with her. That's his goal of the movie, to try to tell her how he actually feels about her. So that's the first main plot we get introduced to. And then we get introduced to Quentin Beck, aka Mysterio, which is the sort of friendly guy, with the dome, and he shoots green lasers and everything. So at first, about halfway through the movie, he acts as, he's the hero. They get to meet him. He talks about these elementals which came from his Earth, and yeah, that's right, his Earth. They introduce and they keep talking about that there's a multiverse that exists. So they talk about this, and we get really excited for it, and we see him and Spider-Man team up to fight all of these elementals. And this, by the way, was such great as well, because Nick Fury is in the movie, and as well as Maria Hill. So they work together, and they tried to recruit Spider-Man to help them with their cause. But since Spider-Man doesn't want to, he keeps ghosting Nick Fury's calls, even when he's in the US. And then later Nick Fury shows up when they're in Venice, and so they try to contact him, and that's when Peter gets to meet Quentin Beck, aka Mysterio, for the first time, which by the way is played by Jake Gyllenhaal. Pretty famous actor, if you didn't know him. So they meet there. Nick Fury talks about the multiverse theory a bit, and then they go off to fight the elementals. And Quentin, he keeps saying how they destroyed his Earth and that he knows what's coming and everything, so he's therefore there to help them as the hero. And so we have this moment, and another important plot point is that Tony Stark left behind these glasses for Peter, which is called Edith, which stands for even though I'm dead, I'm still the hero. And when this line was said, everybody in the theater cracked up so loudly because it's exactly something that Tony Stark would say and do. So that was really funny. And so these play a major role because they're basically an hugely advanced AI that control an entire Stark satellite system and everything. So they're a really important plot point. And later on, Spider-Man feels like he doesn't deserve them. He needs to give them to someone that can probably take over after Iron Man, aka Tony Stark. So he gives them to Quentin Beck, aka Mysterio. And after he gives them, he actually drops the whole facade and reveals that he's actually been an employee of Tony Stark for a while back, but he got fired for, back when Tony introduced the BARF technology with his glasses. That was actually Quentin who designed the idea, but Tony took credit for it, and so therefore he got really mad about that. So his entire goal with this is to act as the hero, even though he later on turns out to be the villain in the movie, and he was just using illusions in order to create these elementals and himself as well with all the effects. So, I mean, I was not surprised by this decision because in the comics, Mysterio, he's a villain and he also has the powers of illusion. So I was not surprised by this decision, but it was still nice to see it in the movie, and it was really greatly done with all the visual effects and everything. It looked really authentic and it was done really well. So after this we get to find out that they're fighting and everything, so now he suddenly has control over Edith because Peter gives him the glasses, and therefore he has everything he needs in order to create these massive illusions. Then he can come in and just save the day. But somehow Spider-Man keeps messing things up for him and as well as his friend. So therefore, they became a threat and he needs to take them out. And the movie does it really well by traveling to different locations so you don't get sick at one point. We go through Venice, they're in Prague, they're in London as well. So there's a lot of great scenery, and it's really fun seeing them at these different locations just with the kids overall. We have they're just such a funny comedic duo, all of the kids together on their field trip, and the two teachers that accompany them, they have great roles as well because they keep arguing with each other, but all of their lines are so funny that I laughed so much during this movie. It's so funny. I mean, I'm just really curious what you thought about it, so please leave a comment down below saying would you like the movie, did you not like it, what was your favorite moment, and so on. Because, I mean, my favorite moment was probably, it's so hard to tell, there are so many great moments, but one that I laughed most about was either when Edith was announced what it stood for, or when they got off the plane from the US in Venice and Ned comes out with Betty because they've been sitting on the plane together, and which happened by mistake, and they reveal that they're a couple now. I mean, I was so surprised by this, and it made the movie so much funnier going forward with this chemistry between these two characters. And also Peter's chemistry with MJ in this movie is really fantastic as well. They play really well of each other, the actors, and they portray it really well. And so I was really happy, and especially by the ending in the movie, with them kissing and sort of becoming a couple or whatnot, and she actually gets to swing with him in New York, which was an amazing moment as well. And then came the huge shocker in the post-credit scene that I was definitely not expecting, and I can't believe they decided to end the movie in this way. So right before this happened and before he's swinging in New York, he confronts Mysterio on the bridge, in Tower Bridge in London, and they keep battling him, and he's using his illusions, but it doesn't work, and eventually he ends up shooting himself with the drones, and so therefore he dies. And then when we're back in New York in the post-credit scene, we get the most amazing announcements on one of these huge teleprompters, and it's none other than Jonah Jameson from the Daily Bugle that announces this. And this was such a funny reference because it's actually the same actor who plays him that did it in the original Spider-Man trilogy, if you have watched it and remember. So it's the same actor and it's the same character that works for the Daily Bugle, which is a New York newspaper, and it was so amazing moment. And either way, he reveals that before Mysterio died, he recorded a message saying that Spider-Man is dangerous, and he flips the entire scenario so it looks like Spider-Man actually kills him, and then he reveals to the entire world that Spider-Man is Peter Parker, and it shows a picture of him as a student. And then the movie just ends. And I can't believe that they ended with this huge cliffhanger. So I'm so curious to see where they're gonna go next with this movie. Are there gonna be, I mean, there's definitely gonna be either a third Spider-Man movie, or they're gonna explain this somehow in another collaboration movie. Because this is definitely gonna have side effects for Spider-Man, specifically since he keeps saying throughout the entire movie that he doesn't want to reveal who he is to the entire world. He just want to be this, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man who can still go to school and be with his friends and everything. So this came as a huge shocker, and I'm really curious to see what you guys thought about it as well. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of thinking to be done now, a lot of theorizing, so I'm hopeful for what will happen in the future. So that's that. For my overall rating of the movie, I mean, the plot was a bit slow at some times, but that was not the main point of the movie for me. For me, it was just a fun movie to watch and laugh at, so I really enjoyed it, and the visuals were on spot with both the illusions and all of the tricks, and I loved his new Spider-Man suit, which he revealed in the ending, the one with the black on the sides. That was really nicely done as well, and it was quite funny when he had the stealth suit on as well, which was entire black with this sort of hoodie and goggles. It was really funny as well, so it was good that we got to see him in a lot of different outfits, and there were some throwback outfits as well. We got to see him with the first outfit that he started in the first movie that he made by himself, so there's a lot of great moments. So my overall rating for the movie, I will give it a 7 out of 10, because it was a lot of comedic moments, and it was more of a it was more of it was really enjoyable movie to watch, and it was a bit lighter than the previous Avengers movies have been, which I was happy to have this after seeing them, because I was so exhausted after seeing those two movies. So it was nice to have a bit more fun and light movie that didn't have anything major happen in it that kept me thinking for days, apart from the post-credit teaser, of course. So there you have it. As always, if you have any questions or comments, just leave them down below, or anything you want me to review next. And while you're at it, why don't you leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it, and please consider subscribing if you want to see more content like this. As always, this has been Arcus.